Hello and welcome to a very short video on the final assessment for the module, which is the second reflective essay. So this has been quite an experimental course in lots of ways, non-standard certainly, and this last exercise is focused on reflection upon your learning, but it also experiments one more time. The reflective essay is due on the 21st of April at 2 p.m, submitted via Turnitin as usual. And I'm going to ask you to write a 1200 word reflective essay in which you reflect on the work that's informed the production and production of your work for the module in term 2. In other words, the work that you've done for Roz and the work that you've done for me this term. As it says in the brief, however, this essay should be addressed to a member of the public to whom you explain the value of what you are studying. Now, what is a member of the public? Let's have a look what AI has to say. Member of the public. Definition. Here we go. Oh, well, AI is not really helping us, but here we go. At the top here we have member of the public, a regular or normal citizen as opposed to an official or agent acting in official capacity. So what that means is you're basically not writing to me, because in this course I am effectively an official or agent acting in an official capacity. I am the teacher of this course, you are the student. So I want you to imagine this member of the public as a regular or normal citizen. Now that doesn't make it any easier necessarily. Let's just go back to the exercise. I suppose the question I was asking in class of those who turned up for the last week was, how many encounters have you had with a member of the public this year? And there were some interesting answers. A lot of people talked about things like buying coffee at Greggs and so on. But these are not the kind of situations that develop into conversations. So it can't really be transactional. Now, that said, there was quite a lot of examples of chat conversations with Uber drivers, which were in that sense transactional, but the conversations themselves were very much about the students and their experiences in Durham and what they were studying. So that was an interesting kind of thing to learn. There were other examples of people selling cakes on the street who had conversations with members of the public that went beyond the simple transaction that was involved. A lot of old ladies with dogs actually led to conversations with members of the public this year. Now, one of the things that came out of that discussion we were having was that maybe it shouldn't be an essay. It's not an essay, it's a reflective essay, so it's a very different kind of writing than a simple essay. Now, the other thing I've asked you to do, as it says in the line there, is you explain the value of what you are studying. Now, you can think about the value in a number of ways. The value of this module is 20 credits. That's its kind of technical value. But that's not really very interesting, is it? So, what's the value? What have you learned? So again, I'm trying to get you to think about graduate attributes, but not just graduate attributes as defined by the university. What have you learned? What have you been required to do that has helped you learn and think differently? What's learning if not thinking differently about things from the way in which you might in a common sense way normally? So it's an essay, and the common sense response would be to write the structured essay. But as we discussed things in the class, it became clear that you could write this essay, this piece of writing, as a dialogue between yourself and an imagined or actual member of the public. in which you then, as it says in the fourth paragraph there, you reflect on your understanding of the purposes of creative approaches to research. Now, what does that mean, creative approaches to research? Well, what I suppose I mean by that is ways of investigating topics that are not simply going away and reading books and writing essays on the likes of Moll Flanders or similar. They're actually about creatively approaching your topic, thinking about it, and in many ways you have been the topic, be it your own investigation of artworks or be it in your interrogation of what graduate attributes mean. So I'm asking you to explain, as it were, to a member of the public how you've gone about doing your work, what you've thought about, what you've learnt. You should also, as it says there, reflect on the challenges you faced in completing your tasks. This is always a crucial point of any reflective essay. I'm asking you also to cite at least 3 entries you made in your learning journal. Reference these in brackets, as for example, learning journal entry and date. And importantly, your art writing diary can also count as a learning journal entry. The key thing, and I said it in the first term as well, is that you give good concrete examples. Okay. Abstract, vague assertions don't carry weight. What do are precise, concrete examples of ways in which you have learned, ways in which you have gone about producing your material for this term. So you may be slightly concerned or worried about the idea of writing a dialogue. Don't. I think the first thing I'll say is this essay is worth 40% of this term's component for the module. The portfolio is worth 60% and it's worth 40%. So it's worth, I think, around 4% of the module mark as a whole. I may be making that. No, I'm making that up. 20%. 20% of the mark for the module as a whole. If you do the exercise, however poorly you do it, you will scrape enough marks to meet the criteria which come up in the criteria that are listed. You want to do well. I will just point you to the point I've made all the way through the course, really, which is that creative disobedience, in other words, not entirely following the rules, but interpreting them in a way that enables you to meet the criteria that have been set and the tasks that have been set, is something that I'm not looking to punish you for. I'm looking to be generous. In all cases, I try and give marks for work that is positive, that is engaging with the task, engaging its audience. Just as a final example, it was Chris who on the Wednesday suggested that he might write this piece of writing as an essay, or as a letter, should I say, as a letter, which he would post through a random door in Durham. That was a fantastic idea, but it would also imply thinking about the audience, how you introduce this particular piece of writing for that particular audience which is receiving an unsolicited letter through its mailbox. Anyway, good luck. I look forward to seeing what you do with this exercise, and all the best. Thank you very much for your engagement in the course this year.